Hi and welcome. You've come at just the right time. We're just finishing up some plastering projects and some clay projects, and they happen to be all sorts of fusions of different projects all finishing at the same time, so I thought I'd walk you through them. Right here we have what was originally created as a wattle and daub wall. This plaster is now finishing. This is the third plaster layer, and the near final, you can see there's a very small amount of cracking. At this point, all we need to do is essentially fill that in and then waterproof the whole surface. And this all is over a wattled inside, which was then daubed with a low straw clay material, then was cobbed with a higher straw insulative clay material. Then there was a scratch coat put on, and now a final last layer of plaster before the final buff layer of plaster to finish. And then over here, coming past our doors, we have another section. This gets into the straw bale segment of the house, and the structure is just the same. You can see one small thread right in the middle of camera right there from where the straw bale is tied into the structure, but the rest of everything else is done essentially the same. We put a mud slip layer on top of the straw. We then put a cob layer on top of that for insulation, and then a plaster layer on top of that. And then we'll just finish in the plaster layer with some clay to get the last of the cracks and the waterproofing to finish it all off. Then finally we come over here. This is still in the straw bale section of the house. You can see underneath this window here. Now let's see if I can get the straw. You can see all that straw sticking through. I've essentially just taken raw clay, chopped it with the shovel, and smeared it on the wall. And that's going to be the key in layer for the next cob layer, which will go on top. You can see it's begun down there, and it's essentially coming on as a thick surface plaster, which will then be covered with more of the golden plaster when we get to that. And here, just coming up, there's a little bit more of the straw bale. It's still exposed. I'm just about to put some mud on that. And then finally over here, I've got some fill-in plaster, which I will do the whole zone, make sure everything above the window is covered.